Hello, what is up YouTube? So today I wanted to talk about something that I've been noticing in the news lately. And that is that a lot of Americans recently have been looking how to move to Canada. Now I'm not exactly sure why this may be happening, but I think it might have something to do with a guy named Donald Trump. Not sure if many of you know who he is, or even care who he is at that matter. But somehow he is still looking good to becoming America's next president, which is kind of terrifying. Like at first it was funny where it was like, haha, look at this old crazy guy just doing crazy things. But now, as it's getting closer and closer, he looks like he could win, and that is just terrifying. And now recently, apparently a lot of Americans have started to look at how to move to Canada if in case he actually does win. And as myself being a Canadian, I thought that I would teach you Americans how to become a Canadian. So what I did was I made a nice little short list of the most important things that I think that will make you become a Canadian. Now the first and most important thing is that you guys need to learn how to say sorry. Because as a Canadian, we say sorry for literally anything. Like you get bumped into and you apologize to that person for them bumping into you. We don't understand it, but we just do it anyway. We literally say sorry for anything. Like we could get shot and this would be our reaction. Oh my god, you shot me. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Your bullet. I got my blood all on your bullet. Oh, you know what? Just let me shine that for you. Oh, I'm so sorry. I got in the way of that bullet. Pretty accurate. But yes, if you want to become a Canadian, you are going to have to say sorry for anything. So now, if you're in America, just start running down the street just apologizing to everyone. Now, some of you may find this a bit difficult because it has to do with your morning coffee, and that is that you're going to have to start going to Tim Hortons over Starbucks. Yes, unfortunately here in Canada, we do have a few Starbucks, but I guarantee you if you asked anyone, they would choose Tim Hortons over Starbucks. Like here in Canada, fuck that coffee where it's just like, I'll have a coffee with soy milk, 2 squirts of vitamin C, vanilla bean extract, and then put it in your shoe and stir it around, and then put it back in the coffee and add agave nectar, and then make sure that there's no gluten in it because I'm gluten-free. Fuck that shit. And here in Canada, you order a double-double. If you have no idea what a double-double is, Google it before you move to Canada. Now this next one, many of you who live in the most southern states might have more of a problem with this, and that has to do with the cold. Yes, because as many of you have probably guessed by now, probably I would say maybe 8 out of the 12 months of the year, Canada is just cold constantly. Like here in Canada, we have adapted to the cold so much so that what everyone else finds cold, we say that that is like summer to us. We wear shorts when it is like minus 10. That is t-shirt and short weather for us. Like right now, as I'm filming this, holy shit, it's 11 degrees. That is summer. It is summertime. Good job, Canada. For all you Americans who have no idea, 11 degrees Celsius is equivalent to 52 degrees Fahrenheit for you. That's another thing. You guys need to get rid of the Fahrenheit and just start using Celsius. But if you find that cold, you have no way of becoming a Canadian because it gets way worse than that. Like it's gotten to the point where it's like minus 30, you can't leave your house. Even the heat in your house is just given up on life because everything is just that cold. So my advice for you of how to get used to being in the cold, maybe just like hop in your freezer for like half an hour a day, just slowly building up a cold tolerance. And then once you've done that for, I would say about a couple of months, you might have built up a tolerance to cold. And if you haven't died from it, you can survive in Canada. Now this next one will apply to all of you sports fans out there. And that is that you're going to have to get used to our teams losing a lot. Like here in Canada, we have a lot of great players, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to our sports teams winning things, I would say that doesn't happen that much. So if you're really into like football and basketball and baseball, sorry. Speaking of sports, the only Olympics that matter to you now is the Winter Olympics. That is where we shine. As previously stated, we grew up with just non-stop snow all the time, so we have developed ways to play any sport in snow. And as a Canadian, for the Winter Olympics, you never have to worry about getting less than gold in hockey. So yes, if you want to become a Canadian, you only care about the Winter Olympics now. Summer Olympics, they're cool to watch, but when we don't win, it's not a big deal to us because we know that we'll just destroy in the Winter Olympics. And now this last one might be hard for some of you to even do. You're going to have to swallow your pride for this one. Because as a Canadian, we sometimes do get offended when people think that we're American. But yes, when we travel places and people just hear us talking for the first time, they just assume that this accent is American, and then they ask you you're American, you have to be offended and immediately correct them and say you're Canadian. And this does have a plus side too, because anytime you tell someone you're Canadian and not American, you will be treated 100 times better. Like when you do that, this is what pretty much happens. Hello, sir. How are you doing today? I'm doing good, thank you. Oh, I see we have an American here. No, I'm actually Canadian. Oh my god, thank god you're Canadian. I hate Americans. They're such assholes. Let me get you our best bottle of wine, sir. Awesome, thank you. And don't act like some of you Americans aren't already doing that, because I see when some of you are already traveling, you put the Canadian flag on your luggage just so people think that you're Canadian and not American. And finally, to be a Canadian, you have to just be overall accepting of everyone. Because here in Canada, we do not give a shit what color, race, sex, gender, whatever the fuck you want to be. We don't care here in Canada. We just accept and love everyone. So if you're gonna have trouble doing that, I'm sorry, but you cannot become a Canadian. But anyway, YouTube, those are my tips on how to become a Canadian. Also, in the comments, if you guys have any more tips for all those Americans out there on how to become a Canadian, leave them in the comments down below. And also, if you guys did enjoy this video, I'd love it if you clicked the thumbs up and maybe even click that subscribe button that's down below. But anyway, YouTube, once again, that is it for this video, and I hope that you did enjoy it. And America, figure your shit out. Okay, let's venture on this journey together. Images. Generally thought I was gonna puke right there.